Is Lord of the Rings Online worth playing in 2023, you might be wondering? This old as dirt MMO, is it even worth checking out all these years later after its release? Well, in my opinion, as a casual player and as a big Lord of the Rings fan, I would say most certainly yes. And here are my 10 reasons why I think you should maybe give the game a chance. And they are in no particular order. Before we dive into Lord of the Rings Online though, I do have to give a quick shout out to this channel's sponsor, Zygor. If you're a World of Warcraft player by chance and you're looking for a guide add-on that helps you with leveling, gold making, achievement collecting, mount collecting, pet collecting, you name it, Zygor has got you covered. Link down below in the description. Let's get into the video. Number 1, storytelling. A long time ago when I was a kid, I picked up Lord of the Rings for the very first time and I started to read it. And one of the things that I fell in love with in regards to Middle-earth was just how detailed it was. The locations, the characters, the cultures, and so on and so forth. I think many people could relate to that. And so when I played Lord of the Rings Online for the very first time, I wondered if this game could capture that. Would hanging out with the dwarves really feel like hanging out with dwarves? What about the elves? Would there be like an elegance to the quests and the stories and the characters surrounding the elf lands like Rivendell? What I found with this MMO is that the developers went through painstaking efforts in order to make their game and their lore fit within the world of Middle-earth during the events of the War of the Ring. In Lord of the Rings Online, you play as a character who is working in the background, working behind the scenes and dealing with all the conflicts that have risen up in the face of this war that is engulfing all of Middle-earth. You'll be encountering ring wraiths, bandits, people who have struck deals with orcs in order to do dark rituals, undead, all manner of evil and treachery and so much stuff. If you're somebody that you found the books or the movies to be incredibly immersive, this game is going to suck you in terms of its storytelling if you give it a chance. That actually leads me to number 2, the world. You probably have heard the rumors that Lord of the Rings Online is a very big game. And I'm happy to say that that is very much the truth. Lord of the Rings Online has a massive open world landscape that is filled with the iconic locations from the Lord of the Rings universe. The Shire, Rivendell, Moria, even Mordor. This world is so vast and detailed, you're going to feel like you have been transported straight into Middle-earth. From the rolling hills of the Shire to the towering peaks of the Misty Mountains, every inch of Lord of the Rings Online is lovingly crafted with an eye for detail that would make even the most ardent Tolkien fans squeal with delight. I just love thinking about the world and exploring it, even recording this video. With so many regions to explore, there's always something new to discover, whether it's a hidden cave filled with treasure or a forgotten ruin overrun with goblins. And the story, tying it all together, it's great. When I played this game for the first time, and even today in 2023 when I play it, as I go from zone to zone as my nameless little dwarf or human or elf, I feel like an adventurer. It's a feeling that I haven't felt from an MMO since really early kind of classic World of Warcraft back in the early 2000s. And it's such a great feeling to just be a simple, humble adventurer on a great quest. And that is something that Lord of the Rings Online delivers on. Number 3, player housing. That's right, there's player housing in Lord of the Rings Online, and it's like having your very own hobbit hole. You can decorate your home, you can furnish it, you can make it your own personal sanctuary. It's like HGTV for gamers, but with more orc heads on pikes. It's great. Being serious, having a home in Middle-earth, it gives you a sense of belonging and immersion into the world. You feel like Bilbo Baggins. You've got your home way out in Hobbiton somewhere, and you're like, you know what? I'm going on an adventure. And you leave the Shire and you make your way down into Rohan or wherever it is you're going, and you're thinking about your home all the way back on the other side of the world. It's player housing, when it's done right, is such an enjoyable experience in an MMO, and I think Lord of the Rings Online did a good job with it. You can invite your friends over, you have neighbors in Lord of the Rings Online, there's a variety of housing options available, even like racial specific homes, which is great. You've got simple little human houses to grand elven mansions. There's something for everyone to enjoy in this system. It's great. Number 4, exploration and discovery. This is something I've alluded to already in the video, but it's something I want to dedicate a point to, and that is exploration and discovery being at the heart of this game's gameplay. Whether you're trudging through the swamps of the Dead Marshes or meeting Tom Bombadil in the Old Forest, every step that you take in this game is an opportunity to uncover something new and exciting. Lord of the Rings Online has your standard sort of quest system. You talk to an NPC, go there, do this, whatever. But because the world is so detailed, because the enemy types are so vast, because there's so much story and lore everywhere, there's always that call in the back of your head of, I wonder what's over that hill over there. And you often will find yourself making excuses to see what is over there. Whether it's to get more stuff for your professions, find new farmland to grow pipeweed, whatever it is. You'll often find new quests, you'll find new ways to play the game. Lord of the Rings Online rewards your exploration. This is something that I have pondered on in my free time, and maybe you guys can help me find some clarity in this kind of scruple that I'm in. When I play a game like Dragonflight, there's tons of things to find out in the open world. Treasures and trinkets and all manner of things as I fly around on my dragon. But the thing is, when I play Lord of the Rings Online, although there's not a ton of hidden chests everywhere, and epics to be found, and little non-combat pets to discover in like the depths of caves, Lord of the Rings Online creates a feeling of you want to go out and see more of the world. And it's not motivated by treasure or anything, it's just motivated by the fact that you just want to see and experience the world. I guess the best way to put it, and this is very much my own opinion, the reward of Lord of the Rings Online is not necessarily achievements and mounts and pets and treasures. The reward is the world itself. And that's what makes exploration and discovery in this game just so much fun. Also, finding new quests and storylines is awesome too, just gotta say that. Number 5, the combat. The combat of Lord of the Rings Online should be very familiar to any person who has ever played a tab targeting MMO. Lord of the Rings Online, it's fast-paced, it's exciting with its combat, and there's a variety of classes and playstyles to choose from, which makes it even better. You could be a sword-wielding champion, a sneaky burglar. Really, there's a combat style to suit every player's preference. You could even be a changeling like Beorn in The Hobbit. It's awesome. With the game's fast-paced action and intuitive controls, you'll be slicing through enemies like a hot knife through butter, or a hobbit through a pie, if you prefer. I remember the first time playing as a captain, for example, and I unlocked the ability to have a little companion, a standard bearer that follows me around carrying my flag, buffing the people around me. I thought that was so interesting, like as a skill and as a mechanic in combat. I don't know, for me, the combat in Lord of the Rings Online is very satisfying, especially with how vocal your character can be during the combat, yelling and shouting and taunting the enemy, laughing when you strike them down. It's good fun, especially if you're playing as a dwarf and you're running around drunk, just slaughtering enemies left and right and just laughing the whole time. It's great. Number 6, the crafting. If you have ever watched a Nixium video and listened to me talk about MMOs, I always talk about crafting. I love crafting in MMOs. It's one of my favorite elements of the game. And Lord of the Rings Online has a detailed crafting system that allows players to create a wide variety of items, from weapons and armor to consumables to decorations. Crafting in Lord of the Rings is fun. It's rewarding. It actually feels like the gear and the stuff that you make has significance. You can even grow your own pipe weed and then smoke it and then get buffs from smoking your pipe tobacco. It's what? I love it. You can even use the game's detailed crafting system to fine-tune your creations to suit your own personal style and preference. What do I mean by that? You can make different styles of armor in the game. You can make dwarven-looking armor, human-looking armor, elven-looking armor. I love that. It's the same stats, but it's different styles, and you can choose how you want to look. As you play Lord of the Rings Online and as you're traveling through the world, you're constantly going to be looking for new ways and new opportunities to upgrade your crafting abilities. I'll just keep it short. If you're a fan of crafting in MMOs, I think that you're going to enjoy Lord of the Rings Online's crafting system. It's not that Lord of the Rings Online has created some vastly new system for crafting. It is still very simple. Go gather materials, go back to the forge, and bang it all together into a sword. But it's just the fact that crafting feels impactful and worth investing your time into. And that's something that other MMOs are just really lacking in nowadays. Number 7, group content. There's a lot of group content in Lord of the Rings Online, and this is something that I just wanted to mention for the sake of this video. You've got everything from dungeons to raids, skirmishes, even monster play. All of these things offer an opportunity for teamwork, strategy, and camaraderie. The grouping element of Lord of the Rings Online is the reason why so many people still play this game years and years after its launch, and even after it has faded somewhat into obscurity. Whether you're taking on a challenging raid or embarking on an epic quest with a group of friends, there's always a lot of new and exciting things to discover with your buddies in Middle-earth. Now, I'm sure that for maybe a 10-year veteran of the game, they might think that the group content in Lord of the Rings Online, maybe it's stale. Maybe it's overdone. Maybe the game needs more of it. But if you're somebody that you're coming to the game relatively recently, I think that you'll enjoy the group content that the game does offer. It's also really cool how everybody that you meet who plays this game is a massive fan of Lord of the Rings, and they're somewhat a role player. And that, of course, leads me to the next point. Number 8, the community. This is a game that's been around for a very long time, and you will encounter people on Lord of the Rings Online who have been playing this game since the very beginning. So far, my experience with this game's community is they have been very friendly and very welcoming to new players, making it very easy to find friends and companions to adventure with. The community in Lord of the Rings Online is probably one of the friendliest and most welcoming that you will find in any MMO. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or a fresh-faced newbie, you're going to find plenty of players eager to lend a hand and share their knowledge. If you just ask, of course. I mentioned before that everybody who plays this game is either a big fan of Lord of the Rings or they're somewhat of a role player. And going back to something that I've already spoken about twice in this video, that just adds to the level of immersion that the game offers. You'll see players standing around smoking their pipes. You'll see players in some epic looking elven transmogs. It's cool. It makes you feel like you're in Middle-earth. And I know what I'm about to say is strange, but Lord of the Rings Online is the only MMO that I've played that feels like a family. Not just a big conglomerate of random doodahs that are just playing a video game to pass some time. Everybody seems to know each other. Everyone's familiar with like, oh, there's that guy, and oh, that guy is known for this. It's a very strange community to be a part of, but it's very enjoyable because it makes you feel like you're becoming a part of something bigger. With so many guilds and player-run groups to choose from, you're going to be able to find your own little corner of Middle-earth to call home in no time. If you're looking for a strong community-feeling MMO, I think Lord of the Rings Online is definitely up your alley, but maybe I've just had good experiences. I don't know. Number 9, character progression. Lord of the Rings Online allows players to customize their character's skills, abilities, and traits to suit their playstyle, and the game provides a wealth of options for character customization and personalization. One of the coolest things about this game's character progression system is really just how flexible and customizable it can be. Whether you prefer to play as a hard-hitting champion or that sneaky burglar, there's always a build or a play style that's going to suit your taste. This is all based on a unique trait system that allows you to customize your character's abilities and stats in a variety of ways. You can choose from a huge range of traits that will let you tailor your character to your exact playstyle, whether it's focused on DPS, survivability, support, whatever. And you can change these traits and skills whenever you want, allowing you to experiment and fine-tune your build to your heart's content. It's kind of like a classic WoW talent tree. You know, you really can make your character play the way you want them to play. And I think that's something worth mentioning on this list that's really cool. And number 10, updates and expansions. Now, Lord of the Rings Online does not have the budget that some big AAA game studios have. And I completely understand that. These guys can't pump out updates and patches and bug fixes and things left and right. They can't. But regardless of funding, regardless of team size, the Lord of the Rings Online team seems to always be pushing the bar further and further towards completing more and more of Middle-earth, bringing more of Tolkien's vision to life and doing the best they can for the player base. Yes, there are things to complain about. I could make a video talking about criticisms of this game, and I probably will at some point. But whenever the Lord of the Rings Online team announces a new expansion, a new patch, or even some revolutionary way of changing up the game, like when they released the whole classic version update, I get excited and I want to jump right back in and see what they have done. Now again, I'm not somebody that has hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours in this game. I just play it casually here and there on the side, and I've been getting into it more and more recently, pushing characters to level cap, exploring different professions, seeing what's around every corner in Middle-earth, and just becoming more and more excited the more I play the game. But as I see this company pushing out more content, despite a lack of funding, despite the fact that the community is not as big as maybe other major MMOs, it really fills you with a feeling of, I don't know, you're just happy that you're getting to experience this game and that you get to be a part of the community. So in conclusion, do I think that Lord of the Rings Online is worth playing in 2023? Definitely so. Are there things wrong with the game? Of course. Are there things to criticize? You bet. But if you're a big fan of the Lord of the Rings books, the movies, or you just want to go on a new adventure, I think Lord of the Rings Online is the place for you. Because the more that I've played this game, and the deeper that I've gotten into it, the more I have fallen in love with Middle-earth all over again. And I hope that if you check out Lord of the Rings Online, you'll have the exact same experience. But I will say one thing. Damn, fix them FPS drops in Bree. And that's it.